Hey beautiful people, I'm doing a Charlie Beach today. I'm filming this from inside my car. It's absolutely freezing outside, and I've been on a journey today into the parallel reality that is Chesterfield. I've been to the wholesalers to stock up on my apocalypse supply of food. I've got loads of French bulldog kibble for Kobe, and I'm now waiting outside the Bakewell fish and chip shop for a click and collect Friday fish and chips, sausage and chips. So yes, all in all, I've had quite a low vibration afternoon. So I'm waiting for the fish and chips to be ready, and I just thought I would jump on because I've been meaning to do a video all week. I haven't done a solo video since the great coronavirus swindle, which I did last Friday, or was it Saturday morning? I can't remember. So the only video that I've done this week is Clan of the Trumpet Angels, which was the Zoom meeting. And the reason I haven't really had time to do a solo video is because I've been so consumed by just the massive response to the inner sanctum concept, which is to create an eco community, which is something I just put out a few weeks ago. The interesting thing is, I've mentioned it 3 times so far. I haven't really particularly pushed it. I've just mentioned it at the end of the group Zoom calls, and I'm just seeing such a wave of, I've just got so much energy coming towards me at the moment, from the videos that I've done, from the Zoom calls that I'm doing, from the inner sanctum, from comments, from emails, and it's actually quite overwhelming. So I've actually just thought, right, I'm going to have to just focus in now and just focus on the whole inner sanctum piece. I'm very proud actually to be wearing my heart hoodie, which is, and I don't know if you can see this, or it's in reverse. Let me just see if I can remember and read it. And it's this was given to me by Robin Scott, who is the kind of project managing the Inner Sanctum project. He's an amazing, very organized, meticulous in detail project manager, quite an engineer, financial guy, who's a great right-hand man for my kind of marketing communication skills. Anyway, he gave me this hoodie sweatshirt, which he created these. I will shake hands, I will hug, I will kiss, I will not be muzzled, I will not be isolated, I will not be vaccinated. So I thought I'd wear that out today. It's actually super warm. So, and I thought, as I'm going into all these shops, and luckily I didn't have much of a resistance today at people trying to get me to wear masks. I just say I'm exempt, and that's it. That's the end of it. And it doesn't cause a problem anymore. Anyway, the key reason I'm coming on here, I'm going to get to the point because my fish and chips are nearly ready. And that is, I just wanted to report in one of the huge shifts that I'm noticing. I'm feeling a shift. I'm noticing a shift. I'm sensing a shift in everything, all the groups I'm following, all the Telegram groups in particular. There's a massive rising of energy of an increasing number of people, not just questioning the government now, people who are starting to question the entire system. And this is a very interesting dynamic because it's shifted away from, thinking Boris Johnson is a bit of an idiot and Matt Hancock is a bit of an idiot. This is people now actually saying, we're not even sure we want to organize ourselves in this way on this planet, in this country anymore. And so people are exploring alternative ways of organizing themselves. There's a burgeoning of communities on Telegram, and the 2 that I've created is just like, there's so much content, it's actually almost quite difficult to keep up with them. The whole eco community idea, the idea of switching out of this 2 up, 2 down, live on your own and be isolated, and going back into a kind of village style supportive eco community where you're co-creating and collaborating and just basically making sure you've got the basics attended to. Freehold land, growing your own vegetables and produce, preferably having a fresh water supply. You'll probably have noticed that they are planning to fluorinate all the water even more than they did before. The government is, which of course is not great for your health. I'm very lucky where I currently live because it's a natural living water source that comes through a whole filtration system. Oh my God, it's so healthy. I can't tell you, to have on tap natural spring water, which is living water, which is super filtered through a natural system. It's like the elixir of life. It really is. So this is very interesting, and I think I'm going to play for you an interesting video that Tony Benn filmed. And please transcend politics. This isn't about Tory or Labour anymore, actually. But Tony Benn did a very interesting video, which I'm going to edit into this. And it's a very fascinating observation about the shift of democracy away from a situation where an MP represents the people of the constituency and goes to Westminster to represent their people, and how that has changed from a political party manages to get their person voted in locally, and then Westminster tries to impose its will through the winning political party onto the people of that constituency. And I'm sure you will have found, if you've tried to write to your MP about what's going on, you just get a pushback of some official party line, basically to telling you to comply with the party line.
This idea of representation interests me. You see, if you're a member of Parliament or Congressman, you have your district or constituency, as we call it, and it's the only job in the world where you have one employee, and in the case of Parliament, 60,000 employees if you're a congressman, 240,000 employees, and you are responsible to them, you represent them. And what has happened recently, and I think it's something worth thinking about, the task of representation is to change the system to meet the needs of the people. But with the power of global capital now, instead of being represented, people are being managed. People are being changed to fit them into the system, instead of the system being changed to meet people's needs. And that's a huge transformation. I mean, the world is now run not by the American president or the British Prime Minister, the International Monetary Fund, the World Trade Organization, the multinational corporations have a far greater power than political leaders. And people sense this, and they become cynical and so on, and turnout in voting is low. But actually, this is an attempt to reverse the power of the vote. If the power is taken away from you and handed over to corporations or international organizations that are not elected, then you realize that you've lost something of fundamental importance. And I've participated in more elections than I can think of, and when I go into we call it a polling station, you call it a voting station, I do call it, and an old lady comes in on crutches, and with a pencil she puts a cross on a bit of paper and puts it in a box, and with that cross she can destroy a government without killing anyone. Now, it may sound negative, but by God, I've never forgotten when the votes at the end of apartheid occurred. I was outside the South African embassy, and we had a little television set, and I saw people queuing up to vote, miles queuing, because they had the right to destroy governments and elect their own. I think democracy is a very, very radical idea. It's not accepted by communists, and Stalin didn't accept it. I don't think capitalists like it because it takes power from them and gives it to people who haven't got money. And that is a very dangerous idea indeed.
So, democracy itself is breaking down, and this is a very interesting thing. So, we're questioning the political system. We're certainly questioning the police system, the police force. And there's so many videos now of police brutality, police inappropriate behaviour, a policeman punching a guy the other day in Manchester.
Why did you punch him? Excuse me. A police officer punched him. The police officer punched him. Excuse me. Excuse me. This one in the high vest punched him. This police officer punched him in the face. He punched him in the face. This police officer punched him in the face. He punched him.
Stand out of order.
Stand back, everybody. Stop! You can stop! No! Look at yourself. Look at what you're doing.
You're disgusting. He's trying to earn a living. He's trying to No. You're okay.
Back up! Everyone back up now!
And actually, it is the police that is the source of the aggression, and it's the people who are the peacekeepers. And so, you know, this move away from a police force to a peace force is fascinating. Another amazing download I had was about our approach to health. You know, we've got a national health service, which is essentially fueled by big pharma, which is completely allopathic, and it's all about treating sickness as opposed to creating the conditions for health and healing. And, you know, we need to move from a national health service to a natural healing service, looking after our well-being through eating well, through drinking fresh water, through looking after our immune system, through being in tune with the land. Because when you're in that high vibration and not eating fish and chips every day, this is an exception. But when you're in that high vibration, even if a virus comes along, it just doesn't take. It's like you're like Teflon. It kind of your system deals with it, and it just can't stick, you know. So natural healing is a very fascinating one. And of course the other big two, firstly the education system, that's completely failing us. I mean, I saw the most horrific video of this school in America where they have installed these glass screens around every desk. I'll probably stitch that into this edit as well.
All right, Mr. Richardson, I just have a question for the school board. I'm wondering, this is my classroom. I have a rather large classroom compared to the other classrooms in our building, but I have 28 desks in here right now. If we go back 5 days a week, I'll have 30 or 32 with the kids coming back from virtual. This is the middle seat of the back row of my classroom. This is their view of the board. So I'm just wondering, when we ordered this $5 million worth of plexiglass, did we have a classroom of 28 desks set up to where school board members could sit in them and see what this was really going to be like? Because I'm still trying to figure out how I'm supposed to hear my students when they're in the back of the room wearing a mask behind all this plexiglass. How my students are going to be able to see my board or see me. I guess I'll have to stand at the end of rows instead of at the board to try and work out problems or whatever. But I really just need to know, like, was this really thought through?
And finally, the justice system. Apparently there's a 500,000 backlog of cases stretching into 2022. So, you know, how is justice being done at the moment? You know, and if you get arrested and charged for something, that's going to take a year, 18 months for you to get to court. Equally, if you try and sue someone or the government, when's it going to be heard, you know? So the justice system is failing us. So all of these systems are breaking, they're falling down, they're creaking at the seams. And I strongly feel that out of what is going on, we are going to see the birthing of a new way of being on this planet. It is sort of capturing the zeitgeist of the moment, people wanting to form their own eco-communities, and just that focus of energy away from fighting what is, and just let's create the new. Let's just do it, and let's just create our own eco community where we can create homeschooling, where we create natural health, where we create our own food, where we don't have to be dependent on supermarkets and externals, where we can be sustainable, create our own energy through hydropower, wind power, solar power. And it's very exciting because it's liberation. This is truly what people are wanting now. They want to be liberated from this oppressive system which is trying to control us and trap us, and this great reset where we're being herded into a future against our consent, you know. So this is fascinating times. It's literally a rebirthing, a renaissance. And actually, it's fascinating times. It's hugely exciting times. And I tell you something, if I was the government, if I was anything to do with the system, I'd be very worried about this, because this may just be the early adopters and the innovators right now. And it may just be 10 to 15% of the people. But it doesn't need to get that big. It doesn't need to get huge to reach a tipping point where it captures the imagination and then everyone wants to live like that. And at that point, the people, the system, the establishment, they've got a real problem. So with that thought, I'm going to go and get my fish and chips and have a wonderful Friday evening and a wonderful weekend. Lots of love. Bye for now.